What's going on, Beach House students? Randy here with Riptide Reloaded, volume number 7. And I am excited to see how some of you guys have been serving your community with our new challenge. Last week, we did the trick shot challenge. I love seeing those. And this week, we're gonna look at some of the ways that how you guys serve your neighbors. And one of you will be picked, and right about now, we'll be hearing a ring on your door and receiving the pizza of your choice. I hope that you enjoy that and continue to submit for our upcoming challenges. Today we're going to be talking about just that, neighboring, loving your neighbor. How do we do that? What does that look like? And what does Jesus say about that? I hope you guys enjoy the episode, and we miss you so much. It's been almost 2 months since we've been together.
What's up, fam, jam, and hammies? Hope all is Osteen, you know? Healthy and wealthy. Now, we're hearing all this talk about we're all in this together and stay at home and just go about life as normally as possible. Well, to that, I only have one word: YOKO. Am I right, boys? YOKO! YOKO simply stands for you only quarantine once. It's not a choice, but a way of life. Why simply sit around and let the days pass when you can carpe diem and please the day?
To put in layman's terms, YOKO is simply a lifestyle for those who choose to make the best out of our current circumstances. When life hands you lemons, you take those lemons and you throw them back at life, because I have a very strict hypoallergenic citrus allergy that causes me to go into anaphylactic shock at a moment's notice. So I present to you YOKO in action. Let's go. Eating 30 pounds of Supreme slow-cooked chicken nachos at 7 a.m. after staying up all night playing Warzone?
Missed your grandpa and not able to see him since this whole thing broke out? No worries. Make your homie into a grandpa. YOKO! 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 YOKO!
Catching up on Judge Judy?
YOKO! Guilty! Guilty! Guilty!
Face your fears? YOKO?
YOKO! YOKO! Wrestle taser? Boys? YOKO! YOKO! Oh! No, okay, dude, peanut allergy!
No, guys, no, dying alone?
YOKO!
It's actually a real fear of mine. Anybody else have any other fears?
Public speaking?
YOKO!
So I've gathered you here today to talk about the cell leaving the nucleus host.
Playing catch with random objects?
YOKO!
Catch this!
Wait, is that a crowbar?
YOKO! 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 YOKO!
Oh, hey there, neighbor. What's that?
Yo, 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 Beach House folks. It's time for Nursery Rhyme Rap Battle. Today we got Rappin' Randy and Reverend JC. Gonna bring it. Here's
Going down, Randy.
Here's how we play. You pick your song, the DJ drops the beat, and the rap battle begins. Are you ready to rumble? Let's hear it.
All right, DJ Mary had a little lamb, hit that beat. So, all you guys know somebody named Mary. This one's for you, Mary. Check it out. Mary had a little lamb. Her fleece was white as snow. And everywhere that Mary went, her lamb was sure to go. It followed her to school one day, which was against the rules. It made the children laugh and play to see a lamb at school. Yo, and so the teacher turned it out, but still it lingered near and waited patiently about till Mary did appear.
All right, let's hear Rapping Randy, first competitor, Rapping Randy. Now we got another one coming. It's going to be Jack and Jill. Reverend JC, drop the beat. You. Oh, Jack and Jill went off the hill to fetch a pail of water. Jack fell down and broke his crown and Jill came tumbling after. I said Jill came tumbling after. Then Jack got up and said to Jill, as in his arms he took her. Brush that dirt, for you're not hurt. Let's fetch that pail of water. Now fetch that pail of water. So Jack and Jill went up the hill to fetch the pail of water. And took it home to Mother dear, who thanked her son and daughter. I said, thanked her son and daughter. All right, who we got so far, crowd? Who you got so far? Remember, you got to keep your votes going. I mean, you got to change his name from Dr. JC to Dr. Dracy, huh? Ooh, like it. All right, now coming back to the stage, Rapping Randy with Itsy Bitsy Spider.
Yo, all my spider people, put your hands up if you're scared of some spiders. Here we go, DJ, drop the beat. Yo, the itsy bitsy spider crawled up the water spout. Down came the rain and washed the spider out. And dried up all the rain and the itsy bitsy spider went up the spout again.
It looks like the sun never came out in that nursery.
Yeah, the sun never.
So we're going to keep on rolling. And now we're bringing back Dr. Dracy. Hey, diddle, diddle. Woo! Got a short one. It's good. Hey, diddle, diddle. Hey, diddle, diddle. Hey, diddle, diddle. Hey, diddle, diddle. The cat and the fiddle. He says, what? The cat and the fiddle. What? The cow jumps over the moon. The little dog laughed to see such sport, and the dish ran away with the spoon. I said the dish ran away with the spoon. I said the dish ran away with the spoon. That's why we can't keep any spoons in the house. Rapping Randy, Peter the Piper.
All right. This one's for my homie Peter. Everybody knows Mr. Peter Piper. Let's go drop that beat, DJ. Yo, check it out. My homie named Peter. Here it goes. Peter was chilling one day and Peter Piper picked a pack of pickled peppers. A pack of pickled peppers Peter Piper picked. If Peter picked a pack of pickled peppers, where the pack of pickled peppers Peter Piper picked?
Piper Peter, pickled peppers. All of their P words. All right, we have one more contestant left. One more of your two contestants left. It's going to be Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. Ooh, senior pastor trying to pull the upset on the youth pastor. Uh-oh. Going back. Leaning back. Going back. A twinkle, twinkle, little star. How I wonder who you are. Up above, the world so high. Like a diamond in the sky. Like a diamond in the sky. When the blazing sun is gone, when nothing shines upon, you show your little light, twinkle, twinkle, all the night, all the night. Then the traveler in the dark, who would know all these words from the Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star song? I sure don't. Thank you for your tiny spark. He could not see which way to go if you did not twinkle so. Twinkle so. Bringing the soul, twinkle, twinkle, little star. Well, that wraps it up for today, and I don't mean rap in the real sense. I mean that very loosely. So be sure to vote. You may vote for neither. That's always a possibility. Check it out. Beach House.
I'm going to have to just go ahead and say right now, congratulations, Pastor Jason.
Oh, yeah, well, thank you. Yes.
He outperformed me. He out-lyriced me. And, well, he just out-funnied me. So, hope you guys have a great time. Thank you, Jason, for coming.
See you, students. Love you guys. Peace out.
Would you like some brownies?
It's a little rainy out today.
Yeah, I see. About the brownies.
You know I'm allergic to dairy.
I made them.
Like deadly allergic.
I don't think there's dairy.
In the darkness we were waiting, without hope and without light, till from heaven
Today we are asking the question, who is my neighbor? Do you guys love chicken strips? Because I love chicken strips, and I make some pretty mean chicken strips, one of my wife Lexi's favorite meals that I prepare. And sometimes there won't be any chicken strips left besides the ones on my plate. And yes, part of marriage is sacrificing, right, people? This is real love. The last French fry, the last chicken strip. But really, isn't that typically our gut instinct a lot of the times? How does this decision impact me? How does it in fact impact my future? How do the sacrifices and giving what I have to somebody who doesn't, how does that impact my security? But Jesus, he teaches us something a little bit different here in Luke 10. A religious expert, he tries to test Jesus, telling him that we are supposed to love God with all of our heart, all of our strength, all of our soul, all of our mind, as well as love our neighbors as ourselves. And Jesus, he told him that he was absolutely right. But when the man asked Jesus to tell him who his neighbor is, Jesus told a parable that challenged him politically, racially, and religiously. We're going to look here at Luke chapter 10, go through verses 30 to 37. But let's look at Luke chapter 10, verse 30. The Word of God says, "In reply, Jesus said, a man was going down from Jerusalem to Jericho when he was attacked by robbers. They stripped him of his clothing, beat him, and went away, leaving him half dead. A priest happened to be going down the same road, and when he saw the man, he passed by on the other side. So too a Levite, when he came to the place and saw him, passed by on the other side." It's getting tense here. These were religious leaders that Jesus was throwing under the bus and telling this parable. When we go on to read verse 33, it starts off with this. It says, "But a Samaritan." But a Samaritan. The but here was a big deal. It let them know that the Samaritan was actually the hero. And that was shocking. It was outrageous in that time because they viewed Samaritans as half-breeds, as traitors, as religiously offensive people. They went out of their way to have nothing to do with them at all. It would be as though today I was telling this story and it happened to me, and Pastor Jason had continued to walk and Pastor Steve had continued to walk. The leaders passed him, but Colin Kaepernick was the hero, right? Some of you just got a little tense yourself. What if the hero is President Trump? What if the hero is an Islamic leader, is a gay person, is Tom Brady? What if it's somebody that you don't like or you don't agree with? What do these people all have in common? At their mention, people have a reaction. They react. And maybe one of these names I just said triggered you because of what they stand for or what they don't stand for, what they allow or what their propaganda or agenda might be. But let's continue in verse 33. It says, "But a Samaritan, as he traveled, came where the man was. And when he saw him, he took pity on him. He went to him and bandaged his wounds, pouring oil and wine. Then he put the man on his own donkey, brought him to an inn, and took care of him. The next day he took out the denarii and gave them to the innkeeper. 'Look at him,' he said, 'and when I return, I will reimburse you for any extra expenses you may have.'" The Samaritan went way beyond the minimum requirement. He literally did everything he could in his power to help out a stranger. We go on in verse 36. It says, "Which of these three do you think was a neighbor to the man who fell into the hands of robbers?" The expert in the law replied, "The one who had mercy on him." Jesus told him, "Go and do likewise." Do you see what Jesus did here? He pushed all the buttons. He pushed the race button, political, religious, and then he flipped the question on him. The expert wanted to know, who is my neighbor? He was drawing the line of focus on others. Who do I classify others to see who I love? How do I classify others to see who it is that I am responsible for loving? Jesus asked the question, who is the neighbor, in return. I am called to be the neighbor. You are called to be the neighbor to anybody that you encounter. Instead of trying to classify others, I need to classify myself. Classify myself as the neighbor. Do you see the difference here? Our inclination is to look out for ourselves. That's how we're wired. To be like me with the chicken strips. But what about me? But I'm going to be hungry later. I don't want to sacrifice what I have or my time for somebody else. But in Jesus' economy, it's a different set of values. Throughout the New Testament, we see that Jesus tells his followers being you and I, to put the needs of others first. That's a hard thing to do, to care about the hurting, to care about the sick and the homeless, to have compassion and be empathetic toward these people, helping them. He tells us to love our enemies, another very hard thing to do, to go the extra mile, not just do the minimum, but look out for one another, treat them as family and fill needs. In Jesus' economy, it's not about me, and it's not about being a neighbor to others. Jesus calls us to go and do likewise. It's not about me. It's about everybody else. It's about the people who I can impact and the effect that I can have on my community. Jesus calls us, he says, go and do likewise. We worry about things that are temporary. We worry about the economy. We worry about who can we blame for this season, for what's going on? Who's behind the coronavirus? No, it's not Carol Baskins, but Jesus calls us to be the neighbor, to go beyond what is required, to empathize. How can I demonstrate Christ right now in this time? Do my words hurt the Chinese Americans or Asian American brothers and sisters at my school or that I know? And what does my focus on money say to my friend whose mother just died alone in the hospital? If people overhear my conversations, would they be pointed to God, or would my words point them away? Do my posts online create walls, or am I creating bridges? What does neighboring look like? It looks like loving God with all your heart, all your soul, all your mind, and all your strength. What does loving God that way look like? It looks like loving others the way that Christ loves them. This is a prayer of mine for me, because maybe you're like me and you're judgmental. Maybe you look at somebody and you begin to already think of how they are, what they think, the way that they operate, right? And you want to begin to look at people the way God looks at them. Not one greater than another, all equally loved, all equally special and important, all having gifts and talents, right? It looks like loving others the way that Christ loves them. It means sacrifice. It means empathy. Instead of outrage, it means understanding. Sacrificing my security, my popularity, my status, my financial and physical safety for the sake of others. That is a bold move. But young people, if you get a hold of this right now, let me tell you that Jesus is going to bless your life in a way that you have never experienced. It means being a neighbor to everyone, not just the ones that you like, right? It can get easy to do things for people that you like, but be a neighbor to everybody equally. If you're not neighboring well, how could you be loving God well? Those things are vitally linked together. I want to challenge you. What is one way, large or small, that you could be a great neighbor today, this week, in person, online, with your family, with a stranger at the store, with your teammates, with political disagreements? Let's be known for being a youth group, a people, a community who neighbor well. I hope you guys have a great week. I love you so much. Bye-bye.